Thank you for joining us this morning for live yoga. We're going to do an upper body and hip opening sequence this morning. I'm just going to talk a little bit here. We'll let everybody get on to our session and make sure nobody's having any issues. So I hope everyone's doing well and staying healthy wherever you're at. I know we have lots of HK staff who might tune in for part of our sequence today. We usually do yoga at HK on Fridays, so this is our substitute. So I'm happy to have many of them joining us, and I think some friends and family and other HK followers hopefully will be able to join in today. So if you haven't done yoga before, just kind of follow along as best you can. And if there's something that you're not sure about, just kind of do what feels okay for your body. I will show some different options for a couple of different poses, but I really just encourage you to do what feels okay for you. This is a fairly gentle sequence that we'll do today, and again we're going to focus on the upper body and our hips. For a lot of us, we're probably sitting more than we're used to. Even for those of us who have a desk job, we might find that we're sitting on the couch more in the evenings or on the weekends. So those might be some areas that get pretty tight. And even if you're used to a desk job, you might be sitting in a chair that's a little different, might not be ergonomically effective. So you might find that you've got some aches and pains or some twinges somewhere. So this sequence might help you to open that up a little bit as well. We are doing a yoga video today, obviously, and what I'm going to do with this session today is I'm going to use some different books that we publish here at Human Kinetics. Videos are fantastic because you can follow along, and hopefully you're able to do that today. But you may find sometimes that if a video, either does poses that you're not quite comfortable with, or you just want to go at a different pace, then it's sometimes helpful to be able to just kind of do that on your own. And a lot of the books that we have sample sequences that we're going to use today so that you can follow along on your own. So you can do a pose a little bit longer if you want to, or maybe just skip one, whereas in a video that's not quite as easy to do. So I'm going to show you the 3 books that we're going to do some sequences from today. I'm not going to follow them exactly because again, I want to kind of customize it a little bit, and I can do that. But I'll show you the books that we're going to use today. We're going to do an opening sequence from Power Yoga by Leah Cullis. And I'm going to have these kind of laid out in front of me, similar to what you could do at home if you're using a book as a reference while you're doing your yoga. The second one is a journey into yin yoga. We're going to do a mountain sequence to kind of open up the upper body. And then our closing sequence will have some poses from this book as well. So I'm going to lay that out here. And then the last one is yoga for athletes. We'll do kind of a modification of a sun salutation that the author has in here. So I'm going to lay that one out here so I've got that. I can easily reference it as we're going along. All right. So as we get started here, when we get to the end of our sequence today with our practice, you're going to hear a little bell. We're going to be laying down kind of just in a relaxation pose, and I have a bell that I use in my class. Today I've got one that was my grandma's bell, so you'll hear that toward the end of our class to let you know it's kind of time to start to move a little bit, and then we'll come back together for the end of our practice. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start out seated. You can kind of sit on your legs like this if you like, or you can sit on your rear end and cross your legs. I like to have a block and even a blanket to sit on because my hips tend to be pretty tight. So if you lift your hips up a little bit, that makes it a little more comfortable. So I'm going to put my block back here so I can do that. And have a seat there. I'm going to cross my legs. So just find a comfortable position for you for these first couple of minutes. Kind of settle in a little bit. Try to sit upright, relax our shoulders back, reach up through the top of our head. Imagine if you had a stick kind of running up through your spine and up through your head. You want to keep that stick kind of moving up toward the ceiling. You can let your hands relax however is comfortable. Take a couple of breaths here. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Do that a couple more times. This is also the part of our practice when we might set an intention for our practice today. For you today, that might be to just follow along and not think about anything else that's going on in your life right now. It might be that you want to dedicate your practice to someone, maybe a frontline worker or someone else who has to work right now and put themselves in harm's way. So just give some thought to what your intention for your practice is today. We'll take one more deep breath in. Exhale and lengthen up. And then we're just going to let our arms relax by our sides. We're going to do a gentle twist here. So we're going to lengthen up again. Take a nice deep breath in. And on an exhale, just gently turn your shoulders to one side. You don't have to go too far. On an inhale, come back to the front. And on the exhale, twist to the other side. Do that one more time each way. Inhale as we come front, nice and tall. Exhale. Back to the front. Exhale to the other side. And back to center. Take a breath here. So as I said, we're going to work a little bit with the hips and the upper body today. So just one real gentle hip opener that we're going to do. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can kind of stay where you're at. If you're on your knees, you might want to come to cross-legged because this will probably help open up the hips a little bit more. So what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of hinge at our hips and bring our hands forward and just come to where you feel a little stretch in your hips. Kind of keep your chin tucked under so your back of your neck is staying long. And you can walk yourself out to, again, where you just kind of feel a little stretch in your hips. Try to relax the hips. We tend to kind of hold on there. So just relax forward. You can come as far forward as you like. Take a couple of breaths here. And then walk yourself back up. And then kind of notice which leg is in front here as you sit cross-legged. We're going to switch our legs. So we're going to bring the other foot to the front. Kind of settle yourself back in a little bit. Lengthen up from the hips up through the top of the head. And as you exhale next, walk yourself forward a little more. Again, try to let those hips go. Relax those muscles. Keep your chin tucked so the back of your neck stays long. You may be able to come really far forward if you can, that's great. Otherwise, just go to where it feels okay. This should feel pretty good for the hips. It shouldn't hurt. If it hurts, come back up. One more breath here. And then we're going to walk it back up. All right, we're going to transition to a floor pose here. So if you're sitting on a block, go ahead and sit that off to the side. We're going to come onto our hands and knees to start. So we're going to have our fingers spread wide like a starfish. We're going to start here in a tabletop position. We're going to tuck our toes under, and I'll show you the first option here. You can just kind of sit the hips back, almost kind of in a little bit of a child's pose, but with the toes tucked under. So that might be one option for you. The other option would be to go into a down dog. So we have those toes tucked under. We're going to lift our hips up toward the ceiling. So we're kind of pushing the floor away from us with our hands. We're easing our heels down toward the floor, and you can kind of bicycle your heels here. Take nice long breaths here. Kind of starting to open up the back of the legs a little bit. You might feel this open up the shoulders a little. If this feels like too much on the shoulders, just bring your knees back down to the floor. Let the head relax. Let's take one more breath here. On the exhale, lift the hips up just a little. And then we're going to walk our feet to the front of our mat. Bring the feet so they're kind of under the hips. We're going to let our upper body just relax here. Let the head relax. Breathe here. And then on our next inhale, think about using the muscles in our core here. On an inhale, we're going to come all the way up. And then bring our hands to the center. pause here to make sure we don't feel lightheaded. Can adjust any clothes that we need to if they might have shifted around. So again, we're going to start here in a mountain position. We're going to get ready to go into a mountain series to kind of work on the upper body. So we want our feet kind of underneath our hips, kind of lifting up through the hips, lifting up through the sides of the body. Let our shoulders relax down here. Reach up through the top of the head. Take a breath here. On the exhale, get nice and tall. Good. Then we're going to bring our hands to the center. So again, this next sequence is going to really kind of open up through the shoulders to start, and then we'll work a little bit on the legs before we move into some other poses later. So we're going to start here with our hands at center. First, we're just going to move the arms with the breath. On the inhale, we lift up. Exhale, bring those arms back down. Inhale up. If you don't want to sweep the arms, you can just bring them straight back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. Back to center. 1 more. Good. This time, leave the arms down at your sides. Relax those shoulders back a little bit. This time we're going to bring the arms to the front. On the inhale, we're just going to bring those arms up with the palms forward. Exhale, bring them back down. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale up. Think of opening across the chest. Inhale. Good. All right, this time we're going to bring the arms up as we inhale, clasp the fingers together. On the exhale, bring our hands behind our head and kind of pull the shoulder blades together a little. On the inhale, come back up. Exhale, back down. So we're going to do that a couple more times. Inhale up. Clasp the fingers together. Exhale, elbows out. Kind of pull the shoulder blades together, open the chest. Inhale up. And down. Great. 1 more time. Inhale up and down. Good. Take a breath here. Relax those shoulders. I'm going to turn my page so we remember what we're doing here, like you might do at home. Take a breath here. Relax the shoulders back. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms up. This time we're going to bend one elbow and bring the other hand to that elbow and just kind of reach that hand behind us. Get a little stretch through that upper arm. Inhale up and down. This time we'll do that on the other arm. Inhale up. Bend the elbow. Kind of give that elbow a little stretch there, that upper arm stretch. Inhale up. Good. 1 more time on each side. Inhale up. Stay nice and tall here. Kind of root your feet down into the floor to keep your upper body working, or lower body working if you like. Exhale. And relax. Good. Take a breath here. Again, roll those shoulders if you need to. Inhale up. We're going to clasp the hands together. Now we're going to do a side stretch. So kind of lean to the side a little, get a stretch through that side. Excuse me. Inhale back up, relax the shoulders, and down. Other side this time. Inhale up. Anchor through the feet as we stretch here. Come back up. 1 more time each side. Breathe. Nice stretch. Relax the shoulders as we inhale. the shoulders, take a breath. I'm going to switch my page real quick. Bring the hands to center here. So still as part of this mountain series, we're going to work a little bit on warming up the legs a little bit here now, around the hips and through the hamstrings. Everything's connected, so if you've got tight hips, that might be affecting your hamstrings also. And that'll kind of help us to warm up a little bit for some of the things we'll do later as well. Again, take a breath here. When I do this first pose, I'm going to do kind of an easier version first, and then the second time through, I'll show you the other version. Take a breath, exhale, lengthen up. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms forward. On the exhale, we bring the arms down and hinge forward at the hips, trying to get our upper body even to the floor. You can keep a little bend in the knees here, so you get a little stretch in the hamstring. Inhale, back up, and exhale, arms back down. Inhale, up. This time you can keep the arms up or you can bring them back down. Again, we're hinging at the hips just to where we feel a slight stretch in the back of our legs. Inhale, back up. Exhale, down. We're going to do that 2 more times. So you can do it either with the arms up, keep them here, or bring them down as you hinge forward till you feel that stretch. Inhale, back up. One more time. Good. Inhale, back up. This time we're going to do a forward fold when we go down. We're going to inhale up. Exhale, just kind of let the arms come down here. Fold forward again. Keep a good bend in the knees here. Let the head relax. On the inhale, we're going to come halfway up. So we kind of slide our hands up the shins till we come halfway up. Exhale, back down. Inhale as we come back up. Hands to center. We're going to do that a couple more times. Inhale up. Hinge forward as we kind of swan dive forward. We're going to come halfway up here. Inhale and relax. All the way up. Hands to center. Great. One more time. Exhale forward. Hands come up as we come halfway up. Relax. All the way up. Good. This time, inhale up. Bring the hands to center and just kind of sit the hips back. It's kind of in a chair pose here. Inhale up. Hands back to center. So again, still kind of warming up that lower body a little bit. Let's do that again. Inhale up. You can keep the arms up here if you like as you sit back, or you can bring them down to your chest. Inhale, push through the feet as you lift up. Hands to center. Last time. Sit back, pull the belly button toward the spine. Push through the feet to lift. Good. One more different pose here. Inhale up. On the exhale, come up onto your toes just a little bit. Inhale, bring them back down. And hands to center. A couple more times. You can keep the hands up or you can bring them down here as you lift onto the toes. And one more time. Lift the heels. Doesn't have to be a long way off the floor. Just get them off the floor a tiny bit if you can. And relax. one more chest opener here for the upper body. First, just roll those shoulders back. I like to do this one in our class. Just kind of helps us to think about bringing the shoulders back, opening the chest. On the inhale, bring your arms forward with the thumbs up. And on your exhale, turn your thumbs toward the back and think of pulling the shoulder blades together and opening through the chest. So we inhale up, exhale. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, exhale. That should feel good to open up the chest. You might feel that into your arms a little bit. Let's do one more. And then just let those arms relax. And shake out the legs a little bit here. Very good. All right, so hopefully you feel like you kind of warmed things up a little bit with the upper body. We're next going to move into a sun salutation. As I said, we'll be using a sequence from one of our books, but I'll change that just a little bit. For those of you who take my class at Human Kinetics, this will probably look very similar to the sun salutation that we do there, but we'll change it up just a little bit. So this sequence will flow through here. Again, if anything doesn't feel good, just modify that however you need to. We're going to do it fairly slow, so just take your time, and if your pacing is a little different, then that's perfectly okay. Just do what feels okay for you today. So again, we're going to start in this mountain position with our feet under the hips. Bring our hands to center to start. Take a deep breath. Exhale as you lengthen up nice and tall. On our inhale, we're going to sit back in that chair. Exhale, we're going to hinge forward and bring our hands to the floor. On an inhale, we're going to take one foot back. You can let that knee come to the floor. And open up that hip flexor as we exhale, kind of sink into it a little. Inhale, we bring the hands to the floor. We push back to that downward facing dog. Again, you can stay on your knees here if that feels better. On an inhale, we're going to come into a plank position, either on our toes or here on our knees. On an exhale, we're going to lower to the floor, keeping our arms in close. On an inhale, open the chest here. Just lift the chest a little, pull the shoulders back. Exhale and relax. On the inhale, we push back up. Exhale, lift into our down dog. We're going to bring our other leg forward to come into a lunge. You can stay on the toes or you can come down onto the knee. Exhale, again, open up that hip flexor. On the inhale, hands come to the floor. We're going to step to the front, back into that mountain position. Use our core muscles here as we lift up on an inhale. Exhale, hands to center. We're going to go through that 3 more times. Inhale as we sit back and lift the arms. Exhale, we hinge and bring the hands to the floor. Take one leg back. Exhale as we sink down into it a little. Hands to the floor. Push into a down dog on your toes, or you can stay on your knees. Come into your plank, toes or knees. Lower down, pulling your elbows back toward your toes. Inhale as we lift into cobra and relax. Push back up into down dog. Other leg comes forward for that lunge. Exhale. Hands to the floor. We're going to step to the front and we come all the way up. Hands to center. We've got 2 more times through. Inhale as we sit back. Exhale. This time I'll stay up on my toes for the lunge. You can come down onto the knee if you like. Exhale. Hands to the floor. Back to the down dog. Lift the hips. line for our plank, toes or knees. Exhale down. We lift the chest, pull the shoulders back, and relax. Push back up. Lift the hips. Bring that other leg forward for the lunge, toes or the knees. Open the hips. Hands to the floor. Step to the front. Pull the belly button to the spine as we lift the upper body. Exhale. Got our last time through. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Step back for your lunge. Lift. Hands to the floor. Lift the hips into your down dog. Make a nice long line here and then lower down. Lift the chest and relax. Push up into down dog. Last lunge here. Lift up. Hands to the floor. Step forward. Lift all the way up. Hands to center. Good. Take a breath here. You might have found that your heart rate increased a little bit. Take a couple of deep breaths. Bring that down. This might be a good time, excuse me, to come back to your intention that you might have said at the beginning of our practice. Just give yourself a little reminder what you wanted to get out of your practice today or who you were doing this for. All right, we're going to head down to the floor here in just a moment, and we'll do a couple other things to really help open up the hips a little bit more. I will show you a couple of options for one of the poses that we're going to do, and you can choose which one feels better for you today, all right? So to start, let's take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, stand tall. All right, let's move to the floor. On an inhale, we're going to bring the arms overhead. On the exhale, we're going to hinge forward like we did before and bring the hands to the floor. We're going to step the feet back, and you can either come into your down dog again here, or if you like to come into a child's pose, you can bring the knees down. Let the tops of your feet come onto the floor and just kind of relax here for a couple of breaths. If you're in down dog, again, kind of think of that as a rest pose here. All right, so for this next hip opener, I'm going to show you a couple of options. For the first one, pigeon or a sleeping swan, we're going to start out in a down dog. So you spread the hands wide, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up. So the way we move into pigeon from here is we kind of move one foot to the middle of our mat. On an inhale, we lift one foot behind us, and on the exhale, we swing that leg underneath. So if this doesn't feel good, I'm going to show you another option here in just a moment. So the idea of pigeon is to try to get this upper leg or this front leg even with the line of our mat. Mine doesn't quite go that far. But so this is where we kind of start with our pigeon if you want to stay here. If this doesn't feel good, or if you just want another option, you can do this on your back. And what you do for that is you roll down, you place one leg on the opposite knee, and then bring that leg in. So you're still getting that stretch through the hip. So feel free to do this option if you like it better. If you are here in pigeon, I'm going to join you there. So we're kind of walking our back leg back, kind of squaring up our shoulders and our hips with the front of our mat. We can stay here. If you want to come down onto your forearms, or if you have a block or something else, you can do that. Again, try to let this hip relax. We hold a lot of tension in the hips, so try to relax there. Think about lengthening the upper body out over the floor. If you want to go down even farther to the floor, you're welcome to do that. Some people have very flexible hips and they're able to really get a good stretch into that hip. For some of us that aren't quite as flexible there, this probably feels like it's plenty. So just breathe here. We'll take a couple more breaths. And then we're going to come back up onto the hands. If you're on your back, you can just stay there and uncross your legs. If we're here in pigeon, we're going to tuck that back toe first and then step back to our down dog. We're just going to take a breath here. If you're on your back, again, just take a nice deep breath. And then we're going to go to the other foot. So on the inhale, we lift that foot in the air. On the exhale, we swing it underneath. Kind of walk our back leg back, let the back or the top of the foot come to the mat. Kind of take a second to square yourself up here. If you're on the floor, you've got the other ankle on the opposite knee, and then reach through and pull that leg towards you. So sometimes it feels good to just kind of take this in phases. You know, take a couple of breaths here. You feel like you're kind of settling in, and maybe come down onto the forearms. Probably feel a little more stretch through that hip. And again, think about actively relaxing those muscles in the hip. Breathe here. Think of lengthening your upper body out over the front of your mat. Got to turn my pages here, so I'm going to do that while we're in our pigeon. Let's take one more breath here. Come back up onto our hands. If you're on your back, just uncross the legs, just kind of take a breath there. If you're here on the floor, come into your down dog for just a breath. And then bring the knees down to the floor. And then we're going to come onto our backs also. So if you're already there, just hold there for us. If you're not on your back yet, bring your legs out in front here. We're going to do one more kind of hip opener, and then we'll do a little bit of relaxation. All right? So we're going to roll back. You can bring the knees into the chest. Those that are already on the floor, you can do this too. Just kind of rock back and forth a little bit. And this is one of my favorite poses. We're going to do a supine twist. You have a couple options here. You can either keep your legs together, bring your arms out, and just let both legs kind of fall to one side. Just let them relax. Or, if you're here, you can stretch one leg out long, and then take this other leg across. You can let this hand kind of rest there, and then let your head just kind of roll opposite your legs. So again, we're trying to just release any of these muscles. If they're kind of holding on, just let them relax. So we might feel a good stretch here through the hip, maybe even up through the core a little bit, probably up through the arm some. Kind of opens up that upper body. Let's take one more breath here. This is a really good example of a pose that if you weren't watching a video, you can stay here as long as you want because it feels really good. And then we're going to come back to the center. We're going to switch. So if you've got both legs up, just take both legs across. Otherwise, we'll take the other leg out long. Take this leg across. Let the head roll opposite. And let those muscles relax. Do one more breath. Then we'll come back to the middle. stretch here that you feel like you need, whether that's pull your knees into the chest or anything else. And then we're going to make our way into our Savasana pose or relaxation pose. So the traditional way to do that is to let the arm or the legs stretch out long, let the arms just relax beside us. If that doesn't feel good for your back or anything else, you have a couple options. You can bring the feet up. That might help feel a little better for your back. You can even kind of take your feet out and just let your knees kind of collapse in. And again, just relax. But if laying on the floor doesn't feel good for you, feel free to sit up or whatever feels okay. You want to be in a spot where you can just relax for this next couple of minutes. Now normally for Savasana, you would want to do it at least 5 minutes. Obviously, we're not going to do that quite so long here today. We'll just do it a minute or two. So the idea here, again, let everything relax. Think about letting your muscles and your bones get really heavy. Just close your eyes. I'll just kind of walk you through it here. So think about everything melting into your mat. As you exhale, relax. If you feel your mind wandering, that's perfectly okay. Try to come back to your breath. Think of that sensation of melting into the floor. And even if you can't do a yoga sequence every day, think about using some of the breathing that we've done today. You know, even if you're sitting in your chair or you escape to the bathroom for a couple of minutes, come back to that breath. Try to relax as you exhale. It's amazing what even 5 deep breaths can do for you. All right, I'm going to have you take a couple more breaths here. Just stay where you're at. I'm going to ring the bell here, and what I'd like you to do when you hear that is just kind of start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And then when you're ready, make your way to one side. So you can roll to your left or your right. Just kind of stack your hips over each other, stack your arms and shoulders over each other. Take another breath or two here. And then we're going to make our way up to a seated position, whatever's comfortable for you, cross-legged or on your shins. Lengthen up here again, relax your shoulders. If you set an intention for your practice today, come back to that. Feel good about the fact that you've given yourself some time today, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of breathing. Hopefully that all felt good. And again, don't feel like you have to commit to a huge yoga practice every day. Some people can, and that's fantastic. But even if you just spend 5 or 10 minutes, even breathing, maybe a little stretching with it, you might find that that helps you feel a little better. So traditionally at the end of yoga, excuse me, we bring our hands together at the center and we say namaste. And loosely translated, that means the light in me salutes the light in you. So I absolutely salute the light in you today. Thank you for staying home, for staying healthy and well, and I wish you all the best. Namaste.